Like, I need to be good on the court. I need to make sure my grades are good. And I was just focused on so much on that. I ignored everything else, and my mental health damage started to spiral, honestly. And so once I was able to see things from a different perspective and a different lens, and understand that just because I'm a basketball player, and just because people expect these things of me, and just because of blah, 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 doesn't mean I'm not still human, you know? And so just once you begin to understand that aspect, and you find value in your own feelings and emotions, then stress takes care of itself, because you know how to deal with every type of situation. Is how I approach it.
That's Jalen White, welcome to the show, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for being a part of this. I really appreciate it.
Sir.
My dog, Jalen White, St. Pete, Florida. Jay, tell everybody about yourself, where you grew up, and about your upbringing.
Yes, sir. Like you said, man, grew up St. Pete, born and raised. Started off, I went to Bogue-Siega. Everybody know it as Bogey. I went to Bogey for 1 year in high school. Ended up transferring to Lakewood for the next 3 years. Best decision I could have made. We ended up having pretty good runs. First year, we got bounced out in district. My junior year, I got hurt, so we ain't gonna count that one. But my senior year, we made it all the way to state. We ain't win it, but it was still a big accomplishment. So then signed with Texas A&M Corpus Christi. First year, I was a starter as a freshman, but a few games in, I broke my wrist again. So I had to sit out most of last year, but it was to the point where I had played too many games to redshirt, and I couldn't even appeal it because I was starting. And so it got to the point where I could either sit out like the rest of the season and rehab my wrist, or I could come back and play and just say, forget it, like, you know what I'm saying, in a different type of way. So I came back, and I was only playing like 10 minutes a game because I was in there straight defense. Like, defense wasn't even guarding me because I wasn't taking no jumpers. I was on some like Tony Allen type stuff. But so I ain't gonna lie, that messed with my confidence a little bit, because even though I knew it was only because like I was hurt and stuff, it's still just like, damn, like they ain't even, you know what I'm saying? So but then fast forward, had a good summer. I get to this year, you know, like we was talking about before, we didn't really have as many wins and stuff as we wanted to have, but still had a good individual year. Was able to lead the team in scoring. And so, yeah, just had a good year this year.
How did COVID impact you this year on the court, and how has COVID overall impacted you since this time last year?
So I ain't gonna lie, like at first, like it wasn't really affecting me because people up here, like in my bubble, because I don't really got a lot of friends, but for the ones I do have and stuff like that, and in my family, none of us was getting it. So I'm seeing all the craziness and stuff happening, and stuff getting shut down, and seasons getting canceled and postponed and all that stuff. But it never directly affected me because we was going with business as usual. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it affected some of our protocol and stuff, but we didn't really have to shut down most of 2020. But then, so we took that as a blessing, but honestly, we was on borrowed time. So by the time we got to like December, it was right after Christmas. We had our first COVID shutdown, and I had got it. And most of it, we had 14 people, 16 people on the team, 14 people had it. The other two had already had it. That was only they didn't have it. So we was shaking in the mug, and it's crazy because every time I would see other people talk about like how it affected their team and stuff like that, it never felt real, like, you know what I'm saying? Because none of us ever been through nothing like this. And so once it got to the point where we really like couldn't go to the gym, we couldn't go to campus, we had to stay in our rooms all the time. And then by the time we got back, but when I tell you my wind was gone, I'm talking about I do 2 drills and that's it, coach. I need a water break and a nap. So it was just crazy to see. But off the court, it didn't really affect too much because I usually stay to myself for the most part anyway. If it ain't like the gym in here, I don't really be doing it. So it didn't really affect me too much off the court. But on the court, once we started having them shutdowns, we ended up getting them back to back to back. We got one right after Christmas. We got one right in January. Then we got another one in February. So it was like, we can't get a break.
That's very similar to what my situation was. Our team, we had the long fall. We practiced for like 60 days before Christmas break. We came back from break and we started our season, but throughout that whole 60 days, we had no pauses. We had a couple of people test positive for COVID, but they were just quarantined and we just got on with it. But once we came back, we had a real shutdown. And like you said, I had COVID also, just like you did. Tell me what went through your mind when you found out that you actually had it?
Bro, when I found out, okay, so the way it happened, was we had everybody get tested on the team. We got, once the season started, we had 3 get tested a week. And so we had some dudes pop up positive on Wednesday, but we didn't get the results till Friday morning. So Friday morning, it was like, all right, we got to retest everybody just to make sure it's not a false positive or not. But when I woke up Friday, I was feeling a little weird. So I'm like, nah, can't be me. So I go in there, and after I took the test, I came back out, and I was like, man, I got that thing, bro. So trainer called me a couple hours later. He was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. He was walking me through the steps. And all I could think of was just like, I knew I was young and I wasn't necessarily at risk, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? So I knew I was going to be fine, you feel me? But I was like, bro, I don't like being sick because I don't like people trying to take care. I just don't like being, you know what I'm saying, taking care of and stuff like that. Like, unless you my mama or something. So it was just having people always checking up on you, calling you. It was uncomfortable for me. But like the sickness itself, it wasn't even that bad. The worst part was getting my wind back afterwards because I couldn't. My stamina was -50 after that.
For sure. When I first found out, I was in my apartment and we got this app that's connected, I guess, to like the health departments or whoever do the testing. So we took a test on whatever day of the week, just say it was a Wednesday, we took the test, and like 8 o'clock the next day, that morning, I got a notification on the app. I opened it. It said, you tested positive, all caps. And when I first read it, I didn't know, I closed the app, just closed that bit. Like I closed it as if it was just going to change something. Yeah. I just went back to it and said it same thing. Obviously, I was so sick. But yeah, I think what you said that's facts, because when I had it, I had some symptoms. I didn't lose my taste and smell, but I had like congestion, headache, stuff like that. And it wasn't just unbearable. It was just being stuck in your apartment. Like, you can't really do too much. Anything you do need, somebody got to help you do it. So I definitely get what you're talking about there.
And that's the thing, bro. That's the crazy part. I hadn't even noticed I had lost my smell and taste, bro, because like I use it sounds weird, but I use real fragrant like soap and stuff like that when I'm in the shower. So you smell it while you're taking the shower. Yeah. Bro, I'm in the shower, right? I got some mango soap. And I get to the end of the shower, and I'm like, bro, it's just hot in here, bro. It don't smell like nothing. I was like, what? And it really hit me. I was like, damn. So I got out the shower and I went to go eat breakfast or something, and I couldn't taste none of it. And I was sick. I don't know. So eventually my taste came back by the end of the quarantine period, but my smell was gone for like, honestly, my smell, I had it in basically around New Year's. My smell just came back like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Crazy. But I honestly got lucky in this day because there's some people that like literally to this day, like still like months, like close to a year later, they still don't got it. So
Talk to me about some of the struggles. You talked about it a little bit. When you came back, your wind was kind of messed up. I mean, that's everybody's mind as well. Anybody that sit out for 2 weeks, especially playing high-level sports, that's what's going to happen. Just talk to me about some of the things that you had to overcome coming back, and also some of the things your team had to overcome throughout the season dealing with COVID.
Yeah, the biggest thing individually for me coming back for COVID was I lost a lot of weight. I started the season at about 245 and I kept that weight. But by the time I got out of quarantine, I was down to 225. So to put that in context, I haven't been 225 since I was like 15 years old, bro. So I really felt different. And so the good part was I realized I was jumping like 4 or 5 inches higher. But the bad part was every time I landed, it felt like my knees was about to snap. And every time I tried to play defense on bigs, got moved straight up out the way. So it wasn't all bad. Like I said, I felt more athletic and like I was floating, you feel me, when I would jump. But in terms of defense, like it was nothing I could do with these bigger dudes. It got to a point where second half of the season, I really wasn't guarding bigs no more. Like it was just straight guards. It wasn't no 3s and 4s and stuff like that. So, but for the team, the biggest part of it was continuity. And it was crazy because every time we would have a shutdown, like I said, we had 3 of them. Every time we would have a shutdown, it would be right after we would have like a breakthrough win, or we would have, you know what I'm saying? Something like, it would be like, all right, so we'll come back from COVID being shut down and stuff like that. We'll come back from being quarantined. We'll lose a few games and we'll start getting together, you know what I'm saying? And then boom, we got shut down again. You know what I'm saying? Right after we finally get that win. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, we could never get that rhythm. But it is what it is at this point because everybody had to deal with it, like you said. I feel like it's the same with everybody, really. Everybody had to deal with it. So complaining about it, just playing the victim isn't really the best thing to do. But I definitely rhythm, continuity, all of that stuff. That's definitely major parts of anything involving team success. So for sure. And then it got to a point where, bro, we didn't have from November. It took from November to like the middle of February for us to have 2 consecutive practice days. Like that was because you got to think with the shutdowns, they wasn't necessarily canceling our games; they was just postponing them. So then it got to the point where every time we was playing games, it was like 2-3 games a week, and we traveling and all that, and you can't kill us. You feel me? Because we still got to play. So it got to a point where we was literally only practicing like one day, and then we'll have to travel, and then we'll have to play. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Something crazy. And we had never had consecutive real practice days. It would be like a practice and a shoot around or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like from my standpoint, I'm the type of player where I don't need that many practice reps. Like I just need film and game prep if I'm gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying? Is while we go through the course of the season, but as a team, not everybody built like that, obviously. So it didn't work out very well.
I want to go back to your upbringing in St. Pete. You grew up in St. Pete, Florida. I think we probably met playing AAU. I would probably say 8, 9, 10, 11. That whole, our younger days we started playing AAU against each other, with each other. Talk to me about coming up in St. Pete and what it was like just playing basketball growing up.
Man, it's crazy. It's so much, and I know everybody said it's about the city, about how much talent and ability is in this city. But St. Pete was really different, and I say that because I was talking to my pops, and so my dad is the only McDonald's All-American out of St. Pete, and so he would work out a lot of us when we were kids and started playing basketball. So around like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, he had AAU teams and stuff like that, but it was really for my older brother. For the Jits, we was just working out. And it's funny because if you look at the group of kids that we had, and I just go down the list, you got me, Sorrell Smith, David Pierce, Lazarus Keys, go a little bit older, you got DJ, my older brother, you got Dallas Moore, you got Amp, you got Barry. You know what I'm saying? You just got, and it's crazy to see all that come out the same city. You know what I'm saying? And so I say that to say it was never a point where it wasn't no competition at any level. You know what I'm saying? And it was always competitive. And being such an urban city, it was like if you wasn't good at sports, you really wasn't. It really didn't matter what you was doing. You know what I'm saying? And so once she saw the emphasis start getting put on stuff, I really didn't want to be a basketball player for a really long time. But once I started, what got me into basketball was seeing all the attention folks were getting. And so I was like, oh yeah, I like that as a Jit. But then once I started hooping, I was like, hey, this is actually kind of fun. Like, I really like doing this. So then that's what it ended up turning into. But yeah, that's really how that was.
You just talked about it, but talk to me about your dad, Mr. Dave, first All-American, only All-American, McDonald's All-American from St. Pete. Talk to me about what he instills in you, what he has instilled in you, and what he means to you.
I would say, man, my dad is the biggest reason for my basketball success, without a doubt, just on so many levels. From when you think about, he was able to see, I got three older siblings, and so all of them were always scorers. You know what I'm saying? And so I think he saw all of that, and all of them lacked in a different way in terms when it came to playmaking. So I'm like, my brother Adrian wasn't that good at dribbling. Naya wasn't that good at dribbling, and DJ was not a passer. He could dribble, but he wasn't passing. You know what I'm saying? And so it's funny to see how when I would start playing basketball and the stuff I would work on, I would always end up working on different stuff. And so what that allowed me to do is that it got to a point where even though I was bigger than a lot of other kids my age, it wasn't just, oh, he big, go stick him on the block. It was, I was allowed to develop guard skill from a young age. So even though I was going through those growing pains and it made it seem a little bit unorthodox at the time, it got to the point where by the time I was in high school, it was like, oh my God, he a legit like 6'5" guard. Like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? He big, you feel me? And so he was able to just see that. And because as good as he was, he always talked about it. He was like, he didn't have enough guard skill. You know what I'm saying? And so he was like, he just never wanted that reality to be with me. And on the other end, and on the less talked about end, is my dad is the reason I have the thickest skin ever. It's nothing a coach could say to me, you know what I'm saying? But everybody get a little bit from that when their dad coaching them. So that ain't really too special.
For sure. My dad coached me too.
Yeah.
But Jit days, I remember I would come to St. Pete when I played with Team Space and stuff. I would come to St. Pete. We would always be at Wildwood. I know I ain't live in St. Pete, so I wasn't there for all the days, but I know you got some days, some stories, all the players you just listed going crazy in Wildwood. What was it like just competing with everybody coming up and just seeing how everybody turned out, like you said?
It's crazy because me being the baby of the group, you list all them guys, I'm younger than every last one of them. And so being in the baby group, I got my lick. They got their licks in, you know what I'm saying? And so I spent a long time, like they was always like better than me, and it was really like nothing I could do about it. And it's funny to see because now I'm at a point where, like, I don't know what the situation was, but it was me and Jacoby Borkins, and we was playing one-on-one. And I could tell this is why he was still in college. And so he's coming off of a all-conference first-team defense, selection. And so he's, you know what I'm saying? And so we were playing one-on-one, and I could tell he wasn't going 100%, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Obviously not. But I want to say a junior in high school, and we were playing, and it got to a point, I was like, hey, like, I don't suck no more. And it took that validation from them. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you don't really think you can fight until you beat up your older brother. It was really like, that same type of way. And so having all that to sharpen my knives against every single day, and it's really the biggest thing I look forward to when I go home since I got to college, being able to hoop against them, you know what I'm saying? And so it was always a motivation factor because I always had something to compare myself to. There was never a point where it was like I was better than other people, and it was just like, all right, I don't really got nothing to do because even if I'm better than all my peers, I gotta beat them. You know what I'm saying? So it's kept me pushing even to this day.
I feel like that's definitely a blessing because I know for me, like I had a couple people like, Darren, a couple people, like some of my friends that chase, like, a couple of my friends that play basketball, but you had multiple different people that were your age, a little bit older, pushing you to be great. And you had a whole nother group of people that were a couple more years older than you, pushing you to be great. So, and you had your dad, you got your brothers, like, are you both of your brothers, your sister too? Like, I feel like it's a blessing. You were just always around competitive people. It was always a competitive environment. How do you think that helped you?
It's helped me for sure because it allowed me to have a perspective of a watcher. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I talked about being younger than all those guys. So a lot of times, even like when we were playing together on the same teams, I ain't getting the game as a jit. You know what I'm saying? So I would just be watching them. And that gave me a perspective of, some people, they get hurt and they got to be on the sidelines, or they get benched, or they don't, you know what I'm saying, and they don't take advantage of it. I was able to, both times that I've had major injuries, use those lessons that I learned back then to understand that this is a learning experience. So case in point, we get to last year where I broke my wrist my freshman year when I first got here in Corpus. There was a point where I was watching, we were playing Central Arkansas at Central Arkansas. I remember our center, Perry Francois, he got a rebound and went coast to coast and tried to dunk on somebody. And it was like, and it was crazy because everybody just saw, the big 6'10", 6'11", just, you know what I'm saying, do some crazy highlight ESPN type stuff. But being on the sideline and having a more of a coach's perspective as in a player's perspective, it basically allowed me to see things that I didn't see otherwise. Like it's really hard to explain, but just being able to not have tunnel vision all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that was something I was only able to learn because I was surrounded by them all the time and grew up with them. And so it's been something that has translated to every part of my life.
High school, you went to Boca Ciega, like you said, for 1 year. You ended up going to Lakewood for your last 3 years. What was it like playing at Lakewood, playing for Coach Anthony Lawrence Sr., and what were you able to do there?
It was crazy. It was a great experience. Coming in up until I got to Lakewood, I always knew Coach as Uncle Square. You know what I'm saying? It was he had become Coach Square until I enrolled at Lakewood. And so just I say that to say that I had so much power in it because it allowed him to push me in ways that a regular coach is just not going to be able to do. And so from day one, I had his trust, he had my trust, and I was able to get better not only physically but with my skills as well. Because I was at that point where my freshman year in high school, when I was at Bogey, I went that whole year I didn't lift a single weight. And so I get to Lakewood and, we lifting every day and we working out every day. We on the Vertimax and we on the track. I was like, this might not be for me. Like, whoa, I ain't never had to be this. I ain't never had to do this. But it allowed me to get that mindset early and go through all those growing pains early. So then by the time I got to my senior year, we get to college, like I'm going through workouts now and it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was only able to happen because we had that trust. So he knew he could push me and I wouldn't have to worry about it, him being weird because that's Uncle Square. You know what I'm saying? And so that was great for me. Family has always been a big thing for me because being around somebody you can trust just it makes everything easier.
Do you feel that when you went to Lakewood, that's when your work ethic overall just started to grow and develop? And
for sure. Because you got to think, being at Bogey was, I was in the medical program at Bogey. Like it wasn't athletics. While we took great pride in it, was not the central. You know what I'm saying? What people was focusing on, and so not that much resources went into it. But then you got Lakewood, who you'll look at it and it's like, oh, they're an older school. Like we didn't have a lot of renovation. Now we do, but we have a lot of renovations and stuff like that. And you're like, why would you want to leave this to go there? But that's an athlete school. They gonna invest in me chasing my dream. So why would I, you know what I'm saying? Why would I not? So once I got there, like I said, at first I was like, man, this shit sucks. I'm not gonna lie. But I was able to see, once I started seeing like I'm jumping higher, I'm running faster, I'm beating, you know what I'm saying? I'm beating dudes off the dribble. I'm like, whoa, this help. Like you know what I'm saying? And so from that point on, I never saw hard work as a chore. You know what I'm saying? I saw it as an assignment, you know?
For sure. I think that growing that and learning that skill, that mindset, not even a skill, that mindset is definitely a plus. Learning it as early as possible. And I think that for sure has led you to what you've become.
So I appreciate that, boy.
So you got to Lakewood after your first year. Soon after, your guy Jamil Reynolds comes to Lakewood. What was it like getting him, and what were you guys able to do there?
Man, oh my God. Jamil, bro, when I tell you, and it's so funny because I can't wait for him to see this because Jamil was so trash. I'm talking about.
Hold up, before you start. Nah, before you start. We played y'all at Clearwater the year that you got hurt. And I remember because my coaches asked me if I knew anything about y'all. I was like, yeah, my friend Jay White played for them. We got there and you wasn't playing. It was just Jamil and the rest of y'all team. Yeah. I kind of knew it was going to be going to get the dub, but he definitely he was okay. You gonna say he trash because that's your homeboy. I can't call him trash. He wasn't just sorry, but I think it was his freshman year. So like for a freshman, he was what, like probably 6'8", 6'9".
No, it was actually a long way. It was his sophomore year because he only a year lower than me, but it was like his first year taking basketball serious.
Yeah, I remember because I remember seeing the AAU tournaments and stuff like that, just being Tampa St. Pete. Like I had seen him before, and then over that year when he had got to high school, of course, So when we played him, at first I was kind of worried. I was like, this might be kind of tough. But then once we got playing, we kind of,
Look, well, just to clear the air, bro. If I would have played, we for sure would have won by 15 and a half. But Jamil was so trash, bro. And I say that, bro, because I'm so proud of that man, bro. Like when I say when he first got to Lakewood, we had the best way to sum up Jamil, and when he first got here, when we first got to Lakewood, was we went to the University of Florida team camp that summer. So going into his sophomore year, going into my junior year. Went to the University of Florida team camp. It was the third or fourth game of the day, so I'm gonna give him a little bit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? But bro, I drive down the lane and he's sitting in the dunker spot. His man steps up. I dump it off to him. Bro, this man caught it, pivoted. He took the big man power zone. So I'm thinking he about to monkey that thing. We all getting like, all right. Bro, tell me, keep in mind he's wide open, bro. Tell me why this man literally hit the back of the backboard trying to get it back to the front of the rim.
Oh my gosh,
bro! At that moment, I almost got asked to get subbed out. So I'm like, bro, this not gonna work. But Jamil is a product of his own work ethic, bro. When I tell you, Jamil got up before and after every practice, 100 jump hooks each hand. He's sitting there dunking with a medicine ball every day. He going through his progression. It got to the point where by the time he was a senior year, the only person that could stop Jamil was Jamil. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm so proud of him. And every time I see him do something at UCF, bro, I feel like I'm looking at my little kid or something. Because Jamil used to be so trash. But that's my guy, though.
That's major. Like, just from that point, just from seeing him at that point, that was his sophomore year, you said, to now being at UCF, like, just the amount of time he had to put into it, like, there's no way that it couldn't be any other way. It's not like he just lucked up and got there. Like, he worked hard, and you seen it firsthand.
And like you said, and it was perfect because not only he got an opportunity to go from P Park, which was not a winning environment, to come to Lakewood, who had a history and expectations, and you big in South St. Pete, so if you anything above like 6'4", they think you Shaq or something, and there's no expectations to not be dominant. And so I could tell he struggled with that pressure a little bit when he first got here because everyone was just expecting him to be Kareem, but no one understood that he just picked up a basketball, bro. And so he was I think he struggled with that a little bit, but he was able to lean a lot on Coach Square and my dad, just having two big men who could basically give him the blueprint. Once he finally bought in, bro, the sky was the limit for Jamil. It was disgusting to see how good he had gotten by the time he had signed. And it's really still beginning for Jamil because now he's starting to get handles, bro. I seen some clip. He was shooting threes. I'm like, bro, like, when did you, we could have won state. Well, what was this? We could have won state. Like, so, nah, man, it's crazy to see that progression because it took a while for him to buy in, but it was just about culture. He was finally in a situation where working hard and winning games was fun. Like, that was cool. And so once it became acceptable for him to, you know what I'm saying? And also, because I think another part of it was that, and it sounds weird, but he was just around bigger people. And that just make you feel more comfortable in your environment. You got to think and I know this because even though I'm not as tall as Jamil, I know when I'm around a bunch of short people all the time, like, especially in an athletic environment, I don't feel as comfortable. It's like, it's just weird because you just feel like I don't know how to describe it, but you just feel like everybody expecting something, regardless of who you are, you know what I'm saying? So once he was around more like-minded people and people who understood what it was like to have expectations and be an athlete, it made it so much more comfortable for him. And Scott been the limit since.
Yeah, I know what you're saying about that because when I'm out or wherever the case, like people just see me like I'm 6'6", they just swear I'm just so big. In reality, I'm like, bro, I play people that's 7 foot
way
5.
bigger.
Yeah, facts. So I know what you mean. And he's 6'10", so I already know he had that a lot worse than we do.
Exactly. So just like I said, bro, just being able to turn circumstance into culture and hard work was basically the equation for him and his success, because that was just ridiculous to see where he went from. I mean, every time I see Jamil, all I tell him is, bro, you know you used to suck, right? Like, I tell him that every day, bro, just because it's crazy to see what he was able to turn into in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah. Gotta have Jamil on the show, man. Gotta see what was going on, all them extra hours he put in. Throughout your high school years, your game developed, your recruiting started to pick up, your stock started to rise. Talk to me about your recruiting process and how you ended up deciding on Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
So Corpus ended up being who I chose because they just had the most consistency. Coming out of my sophomore year and going into my junior year, I had a lot of schools looking at me, but once I got hurt my junior year, and I came back, honestly, I was trash the rest of the year. Like, I can honestly admit that. And so I lost a lot of that. But Corpus was one of the few schools that was still on me the entire time. You know what I'm saying? And it got to a point where I remember, bro, it was my senior year. Keep in mind, they were in the middle of their season. And the head coach, Coach Wilson, was at like 3 of my home games straight. And it, like I said, it was like he had to miss something to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it was like it just showed that level of commitment, and they believed in me from the start. And I knew I made the right decision when I committed, and I seen how they looked on I seen how they looked on their face. It was crazy because I committed on my visit. I didn't take no more visits. I got to the end of my visit, and we was at breakfast, and I was talking to my dad. I was like, "We can wrap it up. I ain't gonna lie." And so we finished breakfast, and I let them know, like, all right, like, you know, this is where I want to be. I want to commit and everything. And they looked, and they was like, and Coach Wilson looked me, I'll never forget it. Coach Wilson looked me dead in the eye. He was like, look, you don't know how much time you saved. You know how long I've been thinking about what I was going to say when we got here. You know what I'm saying? And so just seeing that and that mutual respect and being wanted is something that you can't recreate.
What would be the best piece of advice you would give to somebody that's going through the recruiting process themselves?
Okay. Okay, I got 2 versions of this because I done went through it twice now. So if you get recruited out of high school, I would say, if somebody's trying to guarantee you something, you probably shouldn't go there, because you don't know how many other people you're telling that to. Only thing you need is a fair and honest opportunity. If you know that whatever you get is what you earned, and he makes that clear to you, that's where you need to be. Don't go somewhere where they gonna try to, oh yeah, you for sure going, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know who else he told that to, so you don't really want to get put in a bad situation like that. And to take your time. I see a lot of high school kids come in early just to do it, or just for the cloud of it and stuff like that. It's like, bro, this is the next, like, this is the rest of your life you decided on, like, you know that, right? And so I feel like, and I say that because I can honestly say that I didn't take it as serious as I needed to. And so I look back and I'm glad that I still ended up making a great decision for me, but I've seen so many people not, and it's only because they rushed it, or it was because they went there based off something that never existed. So second version, if you get recruited out of the transfer portal, you transferring and stuff like that. Honestly, the only thing I can say is see how many people they got at your position. Because at that point, you know what I'm saying? Because as a high school kid, it don't really matter because you're going to be younger than anybody when you get there. And you getting there is mostly based off potential. But when you're transferring, you got to get there and you got to make something happen quick. You're not potential no more. You know what I'm saying? And so you don't got time to, it matters who else is there, is what I'm trying to say when you transferring. It don't really matter as much when you're coming out of high school because it's based off potential and people leave every year regardless. So
for sure. To somebody that doesn't know, talk to the audience about how different recruiting is this year with COVID, the transfer portal, and just how difficult things are compared to a normal year.
Everything microwave, man. Ain't nobody taking visits. It's Zoom calls, and it's like you basically. It's just microwave, man. It's microwave, and it's sad because the only people that are getting short end of the stick are high school kids. It's a few kids I know that should have been somewhere as somebody programmed D1 or something, you know what I'm saying? But they ended up having to settle for something they didn't really want to do or something that their talent didn't warrant because of COVID and everybody getting a year back. It's just not as many spots. So, and there's so many people in the transfer portal, they're going to take a proven commodity before they take some 17-year-old kid. And so that's really who getting short end of the stick for it, honestly, the kids.
What is it like being a student athlete?
Man, it's whatever you make of it. It can be really stressful. If you allow yourself to not get organized, the best thing you can do is get yourself on the schedule. And I know that's to sit there and look into a 17-year-old's eyes and tell them, hey, I know your whole life gonna change, but you need to, have a schedule to be organized. It's like talking to a wall. But the best, honestly, if you can get it to a point where you know in and out what you got to do every single day and you can plan out and you can see it, it allows you to manage things because once you get to college, there's going to be so many things thrown at you every day. You got weights, you got workouts, you got your own professional, your own individual workouts, you got talks with your coach, you got film, you got classes, you got study hall, and you still got all the other social stuff that I ain't even got to yet. You still got a life, and you can't ignore that also. And so the best way to do that was just to get organized and get organized early because once you get overwhelmed and you get in that hole, bro, it ain't no climbing out.
How long did it take you to realize the importance of time management and scheduling things like you just said?
Honestly, bro, it took me a year. And I'll say that because I thought I had it figured it out. I was doing good on the court and I was making really good grades. And so I was like, okay, I'm good, you know what I'm saying? But I had no social life my first year up here. Like I was really like, bro, I literally was in the locker room or in my room. Like that was it. And so, but I thought I was okay because I was striking all the boxes. But I look back and it's like, am I even happy? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it took me until I want to say homecoming my freshman year. I finally said forget it. And I was like, man, I went out with the guys. And bro, it was like the best night of my life, literally, bro. And ever since then, it was just like, okay, like it allowed me to open up more and be more social. And that was what finally unlocked my experience here in Corpus.
You just touched on it and you had to think back to yourself about, were you actually happy? Were you enjoying yourself? Were you making the most of your college experience? Do you think mental health is a real thing with student athletes?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I would say it's extremely important, man, because you got to think nobody is going to check up on you but you. And everybody got 1,000 different things going on. And so if you allow yourself to get caught up in that and you don't take a second to understand what you're going through and understand how things make you feel, then it's going to keep bottling up. It's going to get to a point and it's going to explode. Like I said, I spent my first year here and I wasn't spiritual. I wasn't social. I wasn't aware of my own conscience. You know what I'm saying? I honestly, compared to how I operate now, I feel like a robot. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just trying to I need to be good on the court. I need to make sure my grades are good. And I was just focused on so much on that. I ignored everything else. And my mental health damage started to spiral, honestly. And so once I was able to see things from a different perspective and a different lens and understand that just because I'm a basketball player and just because people expect these things of me and just because of blah, 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 doesn't mean I'm not still human, you know? And so just once you begin to understand that aspect and you find value in your own feelings and emotions, then stress takes care of itself because you know how to deal with every type of situation. Is how I approach it.
I wanted to ask you about that. I've been thinking about it myself just in general. I feel like mental health is something that I've tried to Like, I don't know what's the right word. Like something I try to just think about more, just with how COVID is, like how COVID has been, and just everything that's going on this year. So I just wanted to ask you about that and just see if other people kind of felt anything similar to how I felt. So I appreciate you just sharing how you felt too.
Sure for sure.
So you just finished your season at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. It's the off season. What's your mindset going into the off season, and how do you plan to improve your game?
So my main focuses right now are one, improving my athleticism and improving my handle. I've gotten to the point where I make really linear moves because I've always relied on my basketball IQ and my physicality to do most of the work. And so I just really worked on my elusiveness and my handle enough, like, to not travel. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, not really to not travel. Let me not say that. But to just not, you know what I'm saying? Like, not get charges, basically. And so I'm getting to a point now where, you know what I'm saying? Like, dudes getting faster, dudes jumping higher and stuff like that. And the only way I'm gonna be able to keep that edge is if I continue to sharpen my other tools and stuff like that. So athleticism and my handle is the biggest thing I need to work on right now.
For sure. What's your why? What keeps you motivated to just keep going forward, keep striving for greatness?
I want to make my parents proud, man. I think seeing my mama post about me on her Facebook and all her friends commenting and all that stuff. That it's funny because I joke with her like, "Mom, why you do that?" But I love it. Seeing the smile on my dad's face when he comes to my games and see me do something crazy, I live for that, man. Just making my parents happy is the biggest joy I ever get, honestly.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Teach what's taught. Because if you don't teach what's taught, ain't nobody gonna learn them. And it sounds weird, but it's like, I say that to say, if you got information, it show moral obligation to give it to somebody. Because if you went through your whole life without anybody pouring into you, you would be a wreck. You would have no information. You would be nothing. Everybody think they can do it on their own, but they can't. It's your job to and your duty to teach what you know to somebody and pass on your information. And so, teach what's taught is probably the best way to sound.
Where you heard that at?
Young Thug interview.
$1 million worth of game?
My God. Hey, you know, my God. I couldn't remember the web show, but I for sure knew it was Young Thug. Had to.
That's a good interview. I know my platform not that big, but y'all go watch that. $1 million worth of game is a fire podcast series for sure.
Yeah, sure. I remember exactly where I was when I was watching that one too. I was sitting there. I was playing Pro-Am on 2K, and I was in the party, but my mic was muted because I was listening to the interview. I remember that.
For sure. Y'all hear that? Go stream this show while you playing your game, while you driving to work, all of that. Make sure you stream. Go tune in, support the show.
Yes, sir.
All right, now we're gonna do this to speed round, just to wrap things up. There's a couple of quick questions.
All right, bet I'm locked in.
If you could have a superpower right now, what would it be?
Flight. No, teleportation.
What?
Teleportation.
Teleportation.
Yeah.
I haven't heard. All right. That's a firepower. All right. If you go on vacation anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Tokyo.
All right. Who are the top 5 rappers out right now?
Okay. I got you with that one. All right. I was gonna say no order, but we're going with the order. I don't care. We getting spicy. Juice, number 1. Uzi, number 2. Young Thug, number 3. Chief Keef, number 4. Polo G, number 5. No, Rod Wave, number 5. Polo G, 6. Honorable mention.
I forget. Y'all, this man Jay, back in the day, Jay used to be, he still is apparently a Chief Keef fanatic. I remember the only time I would hear Chief Keef when I went to St. Pete, him and Chase always listen to Chief Keef. I wasn't on Chief Keef back then. Apparently, he's still a Chief Keef. Macaroni time. LeBron or Jordan?
LeBron, easy. Come on now.
I had to put. I already knew the answer to that. I already knew where you was going.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been growing your hair out?
I've been growing my hair since 8th grade. I realized once I got to 8th grade, I was like, all right, my head really is kind of big. Like my mama not just saying that. So I was like, all right, so I need more hair because if I got a skin head, that's bad. So I started growing my hair up. But I grew it out and I never trimmed it up until my junior year. I trimmed it my junior year and then I trimmed it again in my freshman year of college. But I have not had a low haircut since I was like 12 years
Yeah, Jay hair look a little bit normal now, but
old.
yeah.
Gotta drop a picture in the promo of the wild hair. Got to.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a picture for y'all to see Jay, the old Jay. The hair going crazy. I got a good one.
Yes,
Top 5 players to come out of St. Pete.
All right.
Spicy.
So we're gonna cut it off. I can't go too old because I know I'm gonna make somebody mad if I, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna say like the oldest I'll go is like Anthony. Well, Dallas is like the oldest I'll go. So in terms of what I saw and coming out of St. Pete, no order. And I'm gonna keep myself out of it, you know what I'm saying, even though I'll be number 1, you feel me? We got Dallas Moore, Anthony Lawrence, y'all know him as Amp, Jacoby Borkins, Dayon Griffin, and Barry Brown. I'm tripping. Barry Brown, easy.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay. You made that look kind of easy. I'm gonna let you. I ain't gonna press you about your nomination. I'm gonna let you slide. You made that look kind of easy.
The way I see it, bro, if you got a problem with the list, bro, I stay on 31st Street. We can go hoop. What you try to do?
All right. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself retiring from the NBA, and I'm gonna be playing video games on Twitch with my brother Adrian.
Oh,
I just need a few years to get my followers up, and then I'm going straight to Twitch. I don't need to. I'm cool after that.
Question: if you could meet and spend a day with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Juice WRLD, number 1, easily. His music literally helped me. All you know, we was talking about earlier about, you know, my troubles and, you know, me struggling my freshman year with finding that balance between my social life and my mental health and the more objective things like basketball and my grades. And Juice's music helped me with that tremendously. So got to be Juice, one of them. Chief, because if I could beat somebody, it would be Chief. Got to be Chief Keef, number 2. Number 3, some want to say DeMarcus Cousins, but I think I'm going to go Michael Beasley. Michael Beasley seems like just the coolest guy ever. You know what I'm saying? I got to go hoop Michael Beasley one time.
Everybody was a Michael Beasley fan back in the day, coming out of high school. Man, all right, Jay, that's about it for the show. We're gonna wrap things up. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Yes, sir. Instagram, we're gonna go Jalen_XO, so it's JALEN_XO. Twitter gonna be JWhite_XO, so it's JAYWHITE_XO. And anything other than that, touch your nose.
Yes, sir. Touch your nose. Anything? Yeah, I like that. Anything other than that, touch your nose. I like that. All of that's gonna be down below in the description. Jay, my brother, thank you again for being a part of this, giving me a piece of your time, the opportunity to do this. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, my boy.
Yes, sir.